Thanks for joining us on the NBC Connecticut Face the Facts YouTube channel. I'm Mike Hydeck, along with Mayor Luke Bronin, just fresh off the Democratic nomination for a repeat in Hartford. Some of your biggest challenges moving forward are trying to get businesses to relocate here in Hartford. There is a few that are coming. Give us a heads up on what's coming to Hartford.
Yeah, well, just a couple of weeks ago, we announced that Galaxy Solutions, which is a leader in digital transformation, and they partner with Cigna, decided to make Hartford the location of their innovation center on the East Coast. And that follows on the decision last year by Infosys, another global leader in that area, to put their innovation hub here. You got companies like Stanley Black & Decker that have been in Connecticut for a long time, but decided to put their Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center in downtown Hartford. And so it's both about building partnerships with companies that are already here and making sure that they see Connecticut and Hartford as a place that they want to invest and grow, and going outside and recruiting those companies who see the opportunity in a small city with a big concentration in insurance, advanced manufacturing, and healthcare, and a place where, compared to New York, Boston, or San Francisco, you can operate at a fraction of the cost.
So you look at downtown Hartford, there are more businesses coming in where they want condominiums above. You have Hartford 21, you have some other projects that are in the works that may make that happen, like the one on Pearl Street. That surrounding neighborhood can come back, but the center of that neighborhood is the XL Center. What happens to the XL Center when your head basketball coach of UConn women says, look, we don't even want to play here?
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Hey, look, we all have to have clear eyes about this. The XL Center is way out of date. It's obsolete. And so we have two basic choices. Either we invest in it and have a competitive modern arena where our flagship university can play their games, where we can attract concerts and have great events like the NCAA tournament that we had last spring. Or you have a building that's going to have to be shuttered and closed and ultimately demolished, and we're probably going to have to pay a ton of money publicly to pay for that demolition and subsidize development there. So I personally think it's a no-brainer. The XL Center is vital, not just to the city of Hartford, but to the entire region. During that NCAA tournament, you saw hotels throughout the region packed.
Right.
You saw, people spending money not just in Hartford but beyond. If you can make that a more regular occurrence by putting that arena back into a competitive position, it's good for the entire state.
How do you pay for it, though? Is it a state thing? Do you bring in naming rights? Like, how do you pay for it? That's a big cost.
Well, you can do both of those things, and I know that the state and the governor are looking at public-private partnerships, but I don't think there is an option that doesn't involve some state investment into ultimately what is a state facility. And you've got to remember that the state actually captures quite a bit of revenue directly and indirectly from the XL Center. So in sales tax, in hotel tax, there's a significant amount of revenue that comes from the business that's generated at that XL Center. And you lose all that if you don't put in a position to be competitive and to sustain itself.
Let's talk schools for a minute. The education gap in Hartford and really in the state of Connecticut is pretty wide. We've changed formulas. We've come up with new ideas to try to close that. How can you make at least some sort of progress in Hartford?
Look, we're working hard to focus back on our neighborhood schools. Neighborhood schools were neglected for a long time as so many magnets were built. The magnets created opportunity for some kids, there's no question about it, but our neighborhood schools got left behind. So we're partnering with our superintendent and the board who focused their efforts there, and we're working to renovate neighborhood schools that were in dire need of being fixed up. But beyond that, I think you can't have a conversation about education in Connecticut without acknowledging that the reason we have such profound disparities is that our educational districts, our school districts, mirror our municipal boundaries, and our municipal boundaries reflect some of the most profound racial and socioeconomic segregation in the country.
Right, the income gap is the biggest in the country as well.
That's right.
Yeah. So how can you?
Well, I've been among the more vocal, people out there talking about the need for regional approaches. And in the meantime, I have been a strong advocate for making sure that our educational cost-sharing formula recognizes the incredible disparity in need. And there were some important, useful changes that were made last time. There were some tweaks to the educational cost-sharing formula, and I am grateful for that, but I think there's more that can be done there.
One last question before you go. The general election is coming up. What are your thoughts on Eddie Perez possibly entering the race because he has the signatures? Do you think he'll do it?
I've been anticipating that he'll run since he collected the signatures, but I guess I'd just say this. There are 3 other opponents who are running in the general. I never take anything for granted, so regardless of who ends up running that general, we'll be running a campaign all the way through November, and in the meantime, doing the hard work every day of keeping the city moving forward.
Mayor Luke Bronin, thanks for joining us on Face the Facts.
Thank you.
This is Mike Hydeck. If you love any of the other YouTube videos, they're right there. Click on them.
This is Face the Facts with NBC Connecticut.